Hi everyone, this is the Business Ready podcast and I'm Rebecca Davis of HR Ready. Today I have the pleasure of being joined by our strategic partner, Tony Sculthorpe, JMC Accountancy Limited, for the first in our series. The 2021 budget has been released and today we want to explore what this actually means for businesses and individuals. So firstly, welcome Tony.
Thank you, Rebecca. Lovely to be here with you today.
So as you know, the Chancellor has covered a lot in his budget this year, with lots of key points to take note of. I know we'll be talking today about both personal and business aspects, but I thought it might be good to get started with some of the taxes. Specifically, the budget mentioned an increase to 25% of tax for corporation. How's this going to work?
This was the one that a lot of people were scared of initially, but it's not actually as bad as it first sounded. In April 2023, the corporation tax rate for companies earning a taxable profit of over $250,000 will be increased to 25%. Companies with a taxable profit under $50,000 will continue to be taxed at the current rate of 19%, and the profits of between 50 and 250 will be taxed at increments up to 25%. However, at the moment, we do not know what these bands will be.
Okay, so actually we're waiting to 2023. It's not actually happening immediately.
No, nothing to worry about until April 2023.
Perfect, that's great. In terms of the self-employed, I understand that there's now a fifth grant. Can you explain the eligibility to me?
Yes, of course. So excitingly, the Chancellor announced that those who began sole trading in 2019 will now also be able to receive support. Previously, in the other four grants, this wasn't available to them. To make a claim for the scheme, your business must have incurred economic downturn from the impact of the coronavirus, which will have caused significant reduction of your profits. Traders who are continuing to trade but who face restrictions which impact their profit making or who are unable to trade will be eligible. Applications for the fourth grant, which will cover February, March and April, will be open in April, and the fifth is expected to open in July and will cover May, June and July. Both remaining grants are to cover 80% of the income and are capped at £7,500.
Excellent, thanks for sharing that. Now, I also know that there was something mentioned about VAT and that being at a reduced rate. Have you got any more info on that for me?
Yes, so the hospitality and leisure sectors were introduced a reduced rate of 5% VAT, which was due to end soon. However, this has now been extended to September and a further reduction introduced of 12% VAT rate from September until March 2021, just to help out those sectors that have been hit the worst.
And is there anything that businesses need to do in order for this to happen, or will this just be taken care of?
No, they will automatically be transferred over to the 12% once the 5%'s ended.
Okay, excellent. And in terms of recovery loans?
Yes, of course. So we've been given a small amount of information regarding the recovery loans. There will be loans available covering from 25,000 to 100,000, which is more than the original bounce back loans that were capped at 50,000, but the finer detail is still yet to come.
So with these loans, is that actually going to take over what's already available from the government?
So at the moment, we believe that the recovery loans may be able to pay back the bounce back loan. However, until we get the finer detail printed from HMRC, we won't know for definite.
Okay, and I take it with this, we'll just be able to go back through our business banks and apply for it that way?
At the moment, that's what we believe, but again, until we get the finer detail, we won't know. But we are told that it will be another government-backed loan.
Okay, perfect. No, that's great. And I suppose on a personal note, we should have a little chat about personal allowances. Are we going to be getting a little bit more money?
Yes, so the final point is the personal allowance threshold, which has been increased by a whopping £70 to £12,570. I know, don't spend it all at once. Meaning you can earn £12,570 before paying tax. But in the longer term, this will actually be a cut as it has been frozen for 5 years until 2026, whereas normally we get the increase each year with the inflation. The basic rate has also been increased, which is where the 40% income tax comes in, and that's been increased to £50,270, which again has been frozen until 2026.
Excellent. And at the moment, what is the current personal allowance?
The current personal allowance is £12,500.
Okay, so it is literally going up by that £70.
£70, yeah.
Although in saying that, that can make a difference.
It can make a huge difference, yeah.
That's excellent. Thanks ever so much for that. So one of the things that I wanted to also kind of cover off with you is around furlough. Now, there's obviously a HR element to that in terms of, the changes for your furloughed employees and the fact that it's actually been extended to September 21, which is brilliant. That's obviously to enable the economy to open up.
Yes.
And to allow time for businesses to retain their workforce and to save those all important jobs. Now, at the moment, it's currently at 80%, and that's going to be covered, isn't it, until July, when it will be reduced to 70% by the government, and then a further amount to 60% in both August and September, when it will then cease at the end of September at the moment.
Yeah.
But how does that work from a payroll perspective and accounts? Is there anything that businesses need to do?
So what we will need to do is obviously we need to enter the claim on behalf of the employer with HMRC to claim back the furlough, which if you've previously claimed furlough, you will already know about that.
So in terms of processing employees then through furlough, if they haven't been on furlough before, is there a new cut-off date?
The employee would have had to have been on the payroll on the 28th of February 2021 in order to claim furlough for them, but they wouldn't need to have been furloughed previously to that date.
Perfect, that's really useful. So that brings me on to talking about apprenticeships. And I've got a few questions around this. As we know, the government currently support apprenticeships, but they've done a few more things to try to enhance. They've removed the restrictions on age at the moment, so now anybody can do it. And also they're supporting many more apprenticeships, so there's not just a select few. I know it's been taken up between April and September, they have to do it, but are you able to talk me through the amounts that people are now able to claim for apprentices?
Yeah, businesses can now receive grants of £3,000 per apprentice, which has doubled from the original £1,500. They can also receive a top-up payment of £1,000, which will be available throughout the education and healthcare plans, meaning some business could be eligible for up to £4,000 per apprenticeship. But I've also heard about Flexi Job. Do you know any more about that, Rebecca?
Yeah, so Flexi Jobs. This is really an initiative that the government have created to further support apprentices in certain sectors. An example of this might actually be within the film industry. So, for example, where they have one role, which may be to create a set. Now, it might actually take an apprentice 3 months to do so, but then after that, they've got nothing to do until they then need to take it down again. Sometimes it can be really difficult to have a 12-month apprenticeship. So what they are now looking to actually do is enable apprentices to have multiple employers, so that after, for example, they've done that film set, they can then go on and learn something else and continue with that apprenticeship over that period of time.
Brilliant.
The great thing is as well, is that not only are the government supporting that Flexi Job scheme, they're also supporting with traineeships. And this is where they've committed an additional 126 million in England for high quality work placements and training. Now, it does affect people between 16 and 24. However, within both the education, health and care plan sector, that's then rising to 25 years old.
Excellent.
And that programme will be there to support in different ways. So they're offering employers £1,000 per learner, up to 10 learners in total, and that's to support engagement and assist with costs such as any additional PPE. They're also looking to extend that traineeship, which is usually 6 months, to an additional 6 months. So in total, it will be a 12-month traineeship. And that is then going to be enabling people to not only do up to their level 2s, but also their level 3 qualifications. So there's a lot of investment going in to get young people into work.
Excellent. And I do think that is an area that they are working hard to increase.
So the next bit that I wanted to talk to you about was looking at the Help to Grow scheme. Now, we've already just looked at traineeships and apprenticeships. Yep. Now, this is actually focusing on businesses and enabling them to develop.
So with this worked with the forgotten sector for the small limited companies that maybe need some help and mentoring coming out of COVID and how to get their businesses back on track?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know there's not been a huge amount of support for the forgotten sector in that area there. However, the government are looking to support 90% of costs for a 12-week programme that, as you say, is really there to support and mentor those business leaders to support them in getting their small to medium business up and running and growing, because growth is a massive strategy for them.
Excellent.
It's going to be affecting and upskilling approximately 130,000 small and medium-sized enterprises over a 3-year period. And some of the things that they're looking to cover is around the digital and management services under the scheme. So when it comes to the small to medium size bosses, they will be offered 50 hours of tuition from the country's leading business schools, as well as one-to-one support from a business mentor, which is just amazing. That's absolutely fantastic.
They're brilliant.
And also eligible SMEs will also be given vouchers to get up to 50% off the purchase of new productivity enhancing software. And that's up to £5,000 each.
There's been a discussion point around this to whether accountancy software can be included in this, because they're obviously wanting to make tax digital. So it's a good, it could be used for businesses to get into the cloud and accounting software, online-based software.
That's excellent. I was literally just going to say there's not a huge amount at the moment around that, but as you just said, actually, there's already a debate going on in terms of the accountancy software. So that's brilliant news. I think it's a bit of watch this space and see really what happens, because with a lot of these things, you know, the Chancellor just announces the budget, but then we've actually then got to wait and see what the fallout is and what that actually means.
Yes, the detail is always last to come.
Absolutely. I just really wanted to thank you, Tony, for today, for joining me. It's been absolutely lovely to have you here on the Business Ready podcast and to discuss the 2021 budget with you. We've covered off some great topics surrounding furlough, corporation tax, the grants that are available, the up and coming things that we're still not too sure of in terms of the details. So I really just wanted to thank you, Tony.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
And just for everybody, please do look in the link below and you'll be able to find Tony's details. Do get in contact with her if you need any advice or support from an accountancy perspective, and we're always here to help. This was the first episode. We have plenty of brilliant speakers joining us over the next year or so to support businesses. So please do keep an eye out, and I look forward to sharing these with you soon. Thank you, everybody. Take care.